have you go live.
Good afternoon. This is a public meeting of the Indiana Arts Commission convened to review arts project support grants for fiscal year 2023 from Region 2. Region 2 includes Elkhart, Fulton, Kosciuszko, Marshall, St. Joseph, and Stark counties. My name is Sonia Nash. I will be facilitating today's panel, and I'm from the Elkhart County Convention and Visitor Bureau. Today is Monday, April 25th, 2022, and we are meeting online and streaming live for applicants and the public to observe. There is no contact between the panel and the audience about the disposition of applications before, during, or after the panel meeting. This meeting will be recorded and made available on the Indiana Arts Commission website. At this time, we would like the panelists to introduce themselves, stating their name, occupation, and where they are from within the state of Indiana. Today, we are joined, first of all, let's have Paula. Paula, please unmute yourself and introduce yourself. Oh, Paula, you have to unmute yourself.
There we
you go.
Okay. Hi, my name is Paula Bowman from Kosciuszko County. I am the past facilitator, coordinator of First Friday and downtown events in Warsaw, and we also own a coffee shop for 25 years across from the courthouse in downtown.
Thank you, Paula. Jessica, please unmute and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Jessica Dennis. I am from South Bend, and I am the business manager for the Idea Center at the University of Notre Dame.
Also joining us, Angela.
Hello, my name is Angela Micheludi. I live in St. Joseph County. I work as a designer and graphic designer and calligrapher and an educator of visual communication students. And I make art with calligraphy and mixed media. And I've been a panelist for a while. Thank you.
Thank you. Dexter.
Good afternoon, Dexter Overall, South Bend, St. Joseph, previously Diversity, Equity, and Belonging Coordinator for the higher education institutions in South Bend, and currently very involved in all things theater, race, and diversity.
Good. And Mary.
Mary Perrin. I am in Stark County, where I am the executive assistant at the Stark County Economic Development Foundation.
Thank you, Mary. Joining us today are two staff members. One is Kayla. Kayla is with the Community Foundation of St. Joseph County. Say hello, Kayla.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here.
And also joining us from the Indiana Arts Commission.
Hi, everyone. I'm Connie Brom. I'm the Marketing and Communications Director for the Arts Commission, and I'll be serving here in the background as a tech help today. Thanks for being here.
Well, we all appreciate technical support on Zoom, so thank you. So now let's begin with the panel review and explain a little bit about how the process will work today. As the facilitator, I will announce the application we will review and ask the first reader to begin the discussion. The first reader will provide their assessment of the application based upon the evaluation criteria and their perspective. Panelists, please note that the applications do not need to be recapped since everyone has read it already. And please just provide your comments as they relate to the evaluation criteria. You all have received that criteria information in advance. After the first reader is finished, I will ask the second reader to present any new, additional, or opposing comments. And we're not looking for consensus through this process, just a full, complete evaluation from different perspectives, panelist viewpoint, so that everyone can bring that viewpoint to the table. After the second reader has finished, I'll open the discussion for final comments from the rest of the panelists. Remember, in the interest of time, we're only looking for new, additional, or opposing viewpoints compared to what your fellow panelists have already communicated. If a panelist has a conflict of interest, that panelist will be placed on hold while the application is reviewed, and they will not participate in the Zoom discussion of that application. Finally, once the application has been reviewed by the full panel, we ask the panel to update their scores in the online system. It is common for scores to change as the result of this broader discussion in our time today. Those scores are saved automatically. Are there any questions, panelists?
No.
If there are none, let's begin. We'll start with the application from Merrimans Playhouse. The first reader is Jessica. Jessica, welcome. Tell us about Merrimans Playhouse.
Great. So first starting out, regards to the artistic quality and artist support, I thought that the applicant clearly has a lot of great programming planned for the 2022-2023 year. However, I didn't think they really explained how they were using past experience to inform this year's planning. In addition, I thought it would have been helpful to have perhaps more succinct purpose or goal. There's a lot of information about what they were going to do, but not as much about why. They had stated that the proposed project is to sustain and expand the homegrown jazz program, but some more information about the goal of that program itself, I think, would have been helpful. There was also demonstrated financial support for Indiana artists in the proposal, which was great. In regards to community engagement, it wasn't clear to me whether this project would serve any underserved audiences, so maybe some more specifics would have been helpful. However, I did think that the applicant did a good job of highlighting how they plan to use different strategies like the free open sessions in a more physically accessible venue to help increase accessibility. In regards to project management, it's clear there's sufficient staffing to complete the project, and I thought there was a reasonable budget. However, I did think that the timeline was a little sparse on actual project activities, and it would have been helpful to see the applicant include their specific community engagement activities in the timeline as well.
Very good, Jessica. Thank you so much for your succinct review. We now will move to our second reader, Angela Micheludi. Please tell us your comments.
Well, I don't have much to add to that. That was very well reviewed, and you are really good. Yes, that was
That's fine.
I guess just one question would be, there's a mention of outreach to Southwest Michigan musicians and who are up here local, but maybe not Indiana musicians. So I'm not sure if you have to specify who's who to get to be part of that. But yeah, there's just one mention that's Southwest Michigan, I guess. Just that's it.
Okay. Thank you very much, Angela. Are there any additional comments, updates, perspectives from any of the other panelists? Paula, I see you are unmuted. Did you want to chime in and share?
No, I just thought it sounded like something I would have fun going to.
Sure.
They did a really good job of that, of explaining everything.
Good. Any other comments? Any additional criteria people would like to discuss? Having seen none, we will ask you to finalize your scores for the Merrimans Playhouse, Inc. Please indicate with a hand that you're done so that we can move on to the next one. Angela, Jessica, are you two done as well? Yes? All right, I saw everyone else's hands. We will move forward then. The next application is the Michiana Public Broadcasting Corporation, WNIT. Our first reader is Mary. Mary Penn,
yeah.
please share.
Yes, sorry to step on you there. This is Michiana Public Broadcasting, WNIT, and they are looking for funding for their Experience Michiana program on PBS. It's been done for several years. They do a great job of drawing on past experience and evaluating and continuously learning and growing. One of the things I really love about this program is they do include smaller communities. Of course, I'm in Stark County. We are small and tend to be forgotten, but I love the fact that this program reaches out to communities of all size, including all of the counties represented in this application and the region and region 2. And it also features a variety of artists and events. They do a really good job of watching social media, of combing through numerous email pitches and different things to remain timely and topical, and also do a good job with their time management. If they can film several segments in one location in order to maximize resources, they do a very nice job with that. Also, on their social media, they do a good job using Facebook as a tool to promote the programming. I just as a suggestion, Facebook is fantastic, but have you considered using other social media outlets like Twitter, perhaps Snapchat and Instagram as well to reach an even broader audience? But again, you do a really good job with this, and I'm impressed with the way the program has grown and evolved and still managed to stay fresh over all the years.
Thank you, Mary. Our second reader is Dexter. Dexter, what would you like to add?
I would like to add that I believe they did a good job of providing the purpose of this program, and it is the benefit that it serves to the various groups in their communities is evident. Appreciative of all of the efforts, one area of suggestion would be the measurement of impact. I believe that social media and website visits are great, but I wonder if there is great opportunity to get more community feedback, whether it is studio tours, roundtable groups and discussions with some of the leaders that are highlighted during some of these segments. I know that we live in a time where social media and the internet is everything, but I still think there is benefit to the old-fashioned town hall, come on down and let's have a conversation. And so I think there is great opportunity for this group, but again, very appreciative of all their efforts in the area of access, inclusion, equity, and diversity.
Thank you, Dexter, for your perspective. Excellent comments. We'll open up to the rest of the panel. Are there additional comments that others panelists saw or would like to add to the conversation? Mary, did you have any additional comments based upon what Dexter communicated?
As I figured out how to unmute myself, to Dexter's point, I agree. Social media, the internet, and especially in this time of COVID, we are finally seem to be emerging from. That's been a lot of our interaction, but if you can get some in-person feedback, I think that would be great as well.
Very good. All right, any other comments that people would like to share? If not, we'll ask you make your final score for the Michiana Public Broadcasting Corporation, WNIT. Make sure and hit save and let me know when you're finished. Are you all set, Jessica? Yes? All right. Thank you, everyone, for doing that. Our next application is Mid-America Filmmakers. And Mid-America Filmmakers, our reader today is Paula. Paula, please share.
Hi, I need to get back into this thing so I
Sure.
can read through my notes. Question, is there a quick way to do this? Because I
It's
want
fine. Take your time. It's okay.
There we go. Okay. Because I've not done this before, it was very interesting to me to see what they were doing. And I think it's great that they're using all different kinds of mediums to show these different films, from the coffee shop to the theater to the outside. And it looks like they have a great group of filmmakers, and it seems like they will have quite a few. Goshen always has a great turnout for any event they do. So I would assume that they would have really great turnout for this. Obviously, there's not a lot of exclusion. Anyone is welcome. And I'm just trying to run through all of this and not knowing what I was supposed to do.
No, you're fine. You're doing good.
So, obviously it's open to anyone who loves film, loves to make it, loves to watch it.
Sure.
And so let me get down here to budget. And they were very verbal on how they said they were going to how they were going to use the budget. And I'm kind of stuck now, so if anybody else wants to catch in, that's fine.
That's good. Let's open it up to the rest of the panelists and see if there are other comments. Perhaps, Jessica, you would like to share some of your insights and perspectives.
Sure. I thought that the applicant had a clear goal for the project, but they didn't really address how the past experiences running the film festival would inform this year's planning. It seems like the event might benefit Indiana artists, but it was kind of unclear, at least to me, from the application, like how many Indiana artists would actually benefit from this project. In addition, I thought they had a clear target audience, like Paula said, the people who love films, which is great. But it was unclear if any underserved communities would really be served by this project as well. However, there did seem to be really strong collaboration with lots of community members and other groups during the planning process. A suggestion would be to perhaps share a little bit more detail regarding the idea strategies they would plan on using in the project. Just a few comments regarding project management as well. It seems like there's definitely sufficient staff and budget to carry out this project, but there was very little detail provided in the project activities timeline, which made it a little difficult to determine if there was an appropriate planning process. That's it for me.
Very good. Thank you for your input, Jessica. I appreciate it. Angela, Mary, I saw you nod your head at times. Would either of you like to add in some comments?
Well,
Angela, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. Go ahead, Angela.
well, I agree with everything already spoken.
Okay.
I think I'm lost my sentence. Yeah, the timeline's a little vague, just needs more clarification.
Okay.
And it wasn't clear if the team was, worked on it for years or if they're all new, and how they are actually going to attract underserved communities. So I think that's about it. Yeah, for instance, would be like, can I mention specific numbers
Sure.
in the budget?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Like they listed 10K for administrative costs, which is 20% of the entire program. So without it being more explained, it seems
Sure.
like.
You had a question about that? Yes. That's certainly understandable.
Thanks.
All right. Are there any other? Mary? Yes.
I would agree. I like the concept, but I would like more detailed information. For instance, you have a tremendous number of people involved in the process. That's great. Certainly look like a lot of people taking on the load, but what are some of their qualifications to do these things? The timeline, again, would like some more detail with that because it is a big endeavor you are looking to pull off. So just again, just to echo what the fellow panelists have said, would like to see some more detail in this application.
Sure. All right. Great comments from anyone. Does anybody else have anything to share? If not, we'll ask you make your final score for the Mid-America Filmmakers application. Make sure and hit save. Let me know that you're all done. Thank you, everyone. Our next application is the Northern Indiana Historical Society doing business as the History Museum. Our first reader today is Angela. Angela, please share.
Okay, my evaluation for the artist support and benefits is that this application is thoroughly prepared and the decisions were based on experience and feedback. In terms of community engagement, outreach to the Northwest South neighborhood, sorry, for the neighborhood for involvement in planning, as well as various ways to outreach the community is notable. And various methods of evaluating that project's impact were described. And in terms of project management, there's an experienced staff with robust timeline as described. They collaborate with experienced partners, and they're clearly experienced and thoughtful in developing the program. And the budget seems reasonable and was described well, including some of the assumptions, the budget assumptions. Thank you.
Well, thank you. That was very nice. Mary is our second reader. Mary, what perspectives would you like to add?
Yes, I agree with everything Angela said as far as her evaluation. As for the project itself, the band has a great sound, and I do appreciate the varied genres of music you are including to expose the audience to all sorts of types of music they might not otherwise be familiar with. And I think the free tickets are fantastic and you do a great job with community engagement. One question I did have is how accessible are the grounds for attendees with disabilities, and a suggestion that you might consider a reserved section or area for folks with limited mobility who might be attending the event.
Thank you for that perspective and insight. I appreciate that. Are there other comments? Dexter, would you have anything you'd like to add about this particular application?
Yes, similarly to what has been shared previously, I think this is a great event. And I appreciate the diversity in the types of music and the artists. One question that I do have, when we look at the community and the idea portion of the application, it clearly defines, the IAC defines underserved communities, and the definition of is there, but I don't see that addressed here much in the proposal. There is mention that the city is, this portion of the city itself defines itself as diverse and creative and inclusive. There is also a mention of different types of museums, civil rights centers, a few churches, and different types of businesses. But I don't see them intentionally involved in the making and the brainstorming of this event, and I would like to. I do think some of these spaces that were mentioned will bring this organization closer to the underserved communities in this area. So again, intentionality around partnerships. I think they did a great job about sharing what past events have looked like, but moving forward to what the future of this event can look like with more joint collaboration with some of these other groups mentioned would have been great to see from the application.
Thank you so much, Dexter, for that insight and that perspective. All very good comments that all of you has shared. We appreciate that a great deal. Jessica, yes.
Yeah, I would agree with Dexter, and just want to mention that I did think that the partnership with the Near West Side neighborhood group does seem to be kind of in its earlier stages, and it'll be it'll be good to look forward to seeing how that partnership can grow in the future. One other thing I wanted to add that, it's great. They point out different ways they're going to measure project impact through social media and written surveys. I just would have like a little bit more detail about like when and how are those tools actually going to be utilized. Like, it's unclear to me whether they, do they collect attendees information to contact them after? I'm just thinking through that process. That way you can actually know that the project impact measurement is going to get done during the project.
Sure, that level of detail is important to carry out that objective, right? And so that's good. Any other comments, questions, perspectives that anybody would like to share? If not, we'll have you make your final score for the Northern Indiana Historical Society doing business as the History Museum. Please enter your final score, make sure you hit save, and let us know when you're done. Thank you, everyone. Our next application is the Ripple Effect Vocal Visionary Project, Inc. Our first reader is Dexter. Dexter, tell us all about the Vocal Visionary Project.
Yeah, so what I have for, this is the Ripple Effect. I want to make sure I'm following.
Yes, Ripple Effect.
Yes, so what I have noted here is that this group is building bridges across communities and breaking down barriers through music and conversation and expression, sharing experiences that will heal. And so I did note that I think they did a great job conveying how impactful and meaningful this event will be, not only just for the performers or the artists, but then for the audience as well. I also noticed in the area of measuring impact, I think there is a lot of room for more intentional effort because this program really highlights through music and speakers the experiences of people with very diverse backgrounds. As these artists are taking the platform to share their experiences, I also think it's important to have a space for people to debrief the conversation and the performances that they have witnessed. So I think we may need to come away from the social media survey engagements. And I think it would be beneficial for maybe a post-performance talkback conversation so that those that have reached the space of vulnerability to share these experiences can also debrief, but then those who are hearing these insights for the first time can process it. I think that's an even greater step towards healing and really highlights why we do what we do in the world of the arts. And so I think I would love to see more area of improvement around the impact for the impact development and assessment purposes.
What a great insight. Thank you, Dexter. I appreciate that information. Our second reader is Jessica. Jessica, what would you like to add?
I agree with everything that Dexter shared. A few other comments would be, it wasn't clear to me who the 4 artists who would directly financially benefit, who they are and kind of what their roles are in the project. And just since that's part of the application, I just think that could have been made a little bit more clear. In regards to, measuring impact, I think Dexter did a great job of summarizing it. I think I would also encourage, it wasn't clear to me whether the ripple effect meant like tracks attendance at all. I think that could be a useful impact measure as well. But I do just want to call them out and say they did a great job of highlighting the specific strategies they're using to maximize accessibility across a number of different measures, whether that's the large print programs or scheduling so students can attend. And I think specifically changing the venue to be outside of the churches was really a good move for increased accessibility.
Very good. Thank you, Jessica, for that added perspective and input. Are there additional comments? We'll open it up to the rest of the panel. Paula, anything you'd like to share based upon your review?
No, I think they've covered pretty much everything. Thank you.
Just fine. Are there any other comments? If not, we will ask you to make your final score for the Ripple Effect Vocal Visionary Project, Inc. Make sure and hit save and let us know when you're done. Thank you, everyone. Our next application is for the Robinson Community Learning Center at the University of Notre Dame. And this one, we show a conflict with Jessica. So bye, Jessica. She's going to the hold room. See you later. Once we see that there she goes, we will have our first reader, Paula. Please share with us your insights into this application.
Well, it looks like they are using the facilities at Notre Dame to host the summer camps for all kinds of youth. And it seems like they are inviting any number of areas that from the town that they're, I can't even talk today, I'm so sorry. You know, in addition to doing arts and things like that, they have tutoring and ways for everybody to get along, and you know how to work life and art. And I'm so sorry, can't even talk. And trying to teach the children how to get along with other people and other areas. I did review this really quickly. It seems very, very thorough with all their different things that they are doing and the grants and things that they are utilizing. Hang on, let me check this. You know, working with the minority youth and things like that, they're going to have to be bussed in. And it's great that they will see going to different centers and going to different things that they might not be able to go along to just because they're not in their blocks that they live on and not close to anything that they can, you know, walk to. I'm looking at media presence and things like that. I was just wondering how I'm assuming they let everybody know about these programs through the schools because it is an after school program and kid summer programs. They're bringing in 12 artists, it looks like, that cover all kinds of different genres. And that's exciting because not everybody has the same talent. It looks like the staff you know, they've got volunteer staff and 70 college kids, which is just amazing. And it looks like their schedules are pretty well set, and that's exciting. So they're not making it up as they go along. I think they're putting on a huge program with not a lot of income, so that's kudos to them and their volunteers. So that's exciting. That's pretty much all I have.
All right, thank you, Paula. Mary is our second reader. What perspective would you like to add to the application?
I would just first of all like to say I applaud their efforts to sustain this program through the pandemic. And it's exciting that they're able to get back to some more in-person events and experiences for students, because there's so much benefit, especially for this underserved population, to get to visit museums and to experience these things they might not otherwise be exposed to. I'm also struck by the great partnerships they have formed and the ongoing community engagement and feedback. I think that is so significant. And this just fills such a huge void for students who would not otherwise have these sorts of enrichment opportunities. They're able to do quite a lot with, again, not a lot of resources, as Paula said, and I just think they're doing a really, really good job with that.
Thank you, Mary. We'll open it up to the rest of the panelists. Angela, any additional comments that you would like to share after reviewing this application?
I think there just is a few details missing in the planning stages. You know, they're mentioning everything they do, but in terms of like the dates or timeline could be flushed out, I guess, in more detail. Just, it wasn't described in the timeline. And that's what that was my.
Sure, that was your question. Okay, I think maybe she froze.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll move on to Dexter and see if Dexter has any comments, and maybe Angela will get a blanket and unfreeze yourself. No. Go ahead, Dexter, what would you like to share?
My comments were in line with everything that was said before, so I don't have anything in addition to that.
I understand. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll have you make your final score for the Robinson Community Learning Center at the University of Notre Dame. Make sure and enter, hit save, and notify when you are finished. When you're finished, we'll let Jessica back into the main room. Are you all set, Paula, or are you still tabulating?
Oh, no, I'm good.
You're done?
Yep.
All right, so that one is complete. So we'll let Jessica back into the room, and it looks like we've lost Angela, so perhaps she'll be calling in. In the consideration of time, we'll move forward and have Angela join us. Our next application is the Rochester Downtown Partnership, Inc. Dexter, you were a reviewer. Would you be willing to unmute yourself and share your perspective?
Yes, so I have here that I appreciate the creation of a space that will support local artists and a venue for the community to support. I think there was some great utilization of the idea strategies, highlighting that they reached out to many artists to kind of share about the experiences of diverse communities, and a lot of women-owned businesses for this event. In the area of project management, I feel that there's more clarity that can go into the project team roles. There was a mention of the manager's role that I think was pretty thoroughly explained. And then saying that there was a team that would also assist. Would love to have seen how they would assist the project manager in this area. Will this team of folks be broken? Will we break them into groups? You know, is someone handling sponsorships? Is there a group that's handling artist management? Because we know putting on an event of this caliber can be quite the process. And so making sure that the team roles are clearly defined, I think would be beneficial for this event.
That sounds very plausible and good information. We'll open it up to additional panelists. Jessica, you left us for a little while. We've missed you. So now share. What would you like to share with our group about this application?
For this project, I really appreciated the detail on the project timeline. I thought they did a good job of including the community engagement activities as well, which, given that was part of, you know, a real focus of the application this year, I thought that they did a good job of including that. As far as measuring the project's impact, I'd also be curious if they plan on tracking attendance at all.
Tracking is always high important thing to do. Yes. Thank you, Jessica, for sharing. Are there any additional comments from Mary or Paula? Yes.
One thing I would add is I visited your Facebook page. I like your Facebook page because I happen to be free that weekend. I think this would be a fun event, but I would love to see you add more followers to that page, as it's a great way to get information out very quickly and very inexpensively. you do have a tremendous number of people involved in this project. And if each of them would just invite their friends to like the page, it might really help to grow your audience. So that's just a suggestion.
Thank you, Mary. I appreciate that. I think Angela is joining us on the phone. I'm not sure if she can hear me. I
am.
Yes. Hi, Angela. Do you have anything you'd like to share? We're talking about the Rochester Downtown Partnership.
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Well,
you.
we'll ask you make your final score for the Rochester Downtown Partnership, Inc. and make sure and hit save on your computer. Let me know when you're done.
Would I just do that verbally?
Thank you, everyone. We appreciate that. We're all done and we're on to our next application, which is the South Bend Chamber Singers at St. Mary's College. Our first reader is Jessica Dennis. Jessica?
All right. I thought the applicant provided a really clear goal and purpose for their project. Didn't really address how they're going to use the past experience to influence this year's planning. However, I did think that the provided documentation showcased a meaningful artistic experience for both the artists and the audience. And it was also clear that Indiana artists are going to benefit from this project. In regards to community engagement, I thought the applicant had a clear audience, and I really appreciated the detail surrounding their past and future collaborations with various community members and groups. They seem to be implementing a number of idea strategies, and I thought that the transition to virtual offerings during the pandemic and how they plan to continuing to utilize that type of technology to increase accessibility in the future was super interesting. And they also had pretty clear planned ways to measure project impact. I also thought that there seemed to be sufficient staff, and I really appreciated the detail in the project timeline. If I had to give them some critique there, it just would have been nice to see more detail about the community engagement activities included in the project timeline as well.
Sure, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Our second reader is Paula. Paula, do you have additional comments or an additional perspective you'd like to add to Jessica's review?
I agree with everything that she said. In looking at their scope of work, they are incredible, difficult pieces with not a lot of practice time in between. And I appreciate the fact that they are bringing in the St. Mary's College girls as well as Penn High School. So you're incorporating the youth in with your adult choir and orchestra. So you get the parents coming as well as the grandparents instead of just the spouses and other local musicians who, love music. But I appreciated their outline as far as what they were going to be doing and where they were going to be doing it. I think their budget is very small. And I give them kudos as far as pulling off all four works for that amount of money, because I know music is very expensive.
Thank you. That's a great perspective and addition. Any additional comments from Angela, Mary, or Dexter that you would like to add to the discussion? Having seen no information that anybody else would like to share, we'll ask you make your final score for the South Bend Chamber Singers at St. Mary's College. Enter your final score and hit save, and let me know when you're done.
This is Angela, and I am finished.
All right, next on our list of applications is the South Bend Heritage, and our first reader is Mary. Thank you, Mary, and please share.
This would work better if I unmuted myself. South Bend Heritage, I think, does a great job of showcasing a variety of art. And I love the participation from local middle school students. You do a great job of bringing art to an underserved community and a very thoughtful job in addressing barriers to access. And appreciate the amount of planning that has gone into this and can tell you have drawn on your prior experience to put this event on. And let me just see if there's anything else here. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Mary. We appreciate that. We'll look for additional comments from any of our panelists. Dexter, did you notice anything about the South Bend Heritage application that you'd like to share?
I do have notice here that I am appreciative of the impact measurement efforts. An additional method to consider would be gathering the experiences of the artists and students that participated. What was it like for them to have the art display? Did they learn something different about themselves after the presentations? And I believe that this may assist in additional data collection to assess the learning and event experience for all.
Those are great post-survey questions of the artists. Thank you for that, Dexter. I liked that information. Any additional comments that anybody would like to share? See no information. We'll have you make your final score for South Bend Heritage. Make sure it hits save and let me know when you're done.
I am finished. This is Angela.
Okay, moving right along, everyone's completed. So we're moving on to our next application, which is Spoonful of Imagination. Our first reader is Dexter. Dexter, please share with us about Spoonful of Imagination.
First thing I have noted here is I appreciate the expression of the mission of the group and to their dedication to making the creative process accessible to all members of the community. I love their partnerships with a lot of the schools and teachers as well. I have noted here one thing that I did not see, and I know I'm very heavy on the impact because that's an important process. You know, how is what we're doing changing and helping the community and the people that take place in our events? And so I did not see a clear process for impact measurement. And I also understand that a lot of the participants may be middle school and students because they do a lot of work with schools, but it would be helpful or might give some additional insight if they were able to reach out to the teachers in the schools that they're facilitating some of these activities with to see have they seen a difference in the performance or the creativity of their students and their participants. I noticed that with all the great work that this organization does looking at the project management, that it seems very limited with staffing. And I know more staff requires more money and so forth. But if there's a way to see if there is room for more volunteers, I think this would be great to continue the great work that this group is doing.
Good insights. Thank you, Dexter. Our second reader is Jessica. What would you like to add to the conversation?
Yeah, definitely agree with everything that Dexter shared. A few additional notes would be, well, later in the application, it's clear that the project financially benefits 2 Indiana artists. It would have been helpful to learn more about them and their involvement in the project in that first section, specifically related to artistic support. And then, just again, building off of Dexter's comments regarding project impact, I was curious to know whether were the teachers surveyed regarding the project, or do they include any kind of feedback from the students themselves? I thought that would have been helpful. In addition, one small note for future applications, it would have been helpful as a reviewer if the applicant had used the numbered response format that was suggested by the application. That just would have made it a little bit easier to review. In addition, I thought that the staffing overview didn't really provide the information that was requested with like the title and role and relevant experience. And that would have been helpful to include as well.
Thank you,
But
Jessica.
I will say they had really nice active social media, which I appreciated.
Good. Thank you for your insight and noting all of those details. Any additional comments for the Spoonful of Imagination application? Angela, do you have anything you'd like to add? It's hard to see your face, so I'm not sure. If you have anything, please let us know.
Just one note about project management. It could be maybe scored higher if more detail was provided for the revenues. 87% of the budget is described as other grants and annual occurring donations, but they weren't mentioned. So details. I think that's it.
Sure.
I'm sorry that I got one computer that works and one that doesn't, apparently.
That's all right. You're doing just fine. You had good insight and we appreciate that. All right. Are there any other comments? If not, we'll ask you make your final score for Spoonful of Imagination and
I'm finished.
all right, everyone. Our next application is the Jewish Federation of St. Joseph Valley. And our reader today is Mary. Mary, thank you, and please share.
Sorry, having just a slight bit of a technical difficulty here, but let me get my notes in front of me for this.
Of course, not a problem.
Let's see.
It was a fast turnaround that last
Computers are great when they work like they are supposed to. Oh, I'm okay. Come on. Alrighty, would you work? Okay, this is, of course, an event that has occurred for several years. And really, again, applaud them for being a great artistic event that provides a strong artistic experience. I was a little unclear on whether Indiana artists would actually benefit due to the diversity. Kind of a good news, bad news, when you try to be this inclusive with this many topics, it can get away from the actual benefit to Indiana artists. And I don't really know if there's a way to overcome that. As far as the benefit to underserved communities, yes, there's a benefit. Would like to see maybe a little bit more, outreach into some more underserved communities. With that, I do like the inclusion of all three local Jewish denominations to really hit at different aspects of that, but perhaps a little bit of a broader focus. The measure of impact, I think, is good. Marketing and participation. I do like the community interaction piece and bringing in people who have personal connections to the topics. I think that is fantastic. And also the venue is fully accessible. Applaud you for that. The project management, the staffing is very well thought out and considered and adequate. The timeline, again, drawing on a lot of prior planning for this and just a good breakdown of what needs to occur, especially as to what the committee actually does as far as this. I think everyone has a clear understanding of their role in this. And as far as the budget, I think that was, again, well thought out and a lot of in-kind. I'm excited to see that as well. It's indicative of good support for that.
Thank you, Mary. We appreciate your comments and your consideration. We'll see if anyone else on the panel has additional comments. Dexter, Jessica, anything you'd like to share? We'll start with Dexter. Yes?
Nothing additional.
Okay.
But again, highlighting, I did not see the direct the direct support for Indiana artists.
Sure. That is a question.
I think Mary covered it great.
Yeah, Mary covered it great. Yes, she did. All right. Any other additional comments by anyone? If not, we'll ask you make your final score for the Jewish Federation of St. Joseph Valley. Make sure you hit save.
This is Angela, and I'm all set.
All right. We're on to our next one, and this is the Stark County Youth Club, Inc., and we have a conflict of interest from Mary. So Mary, bye-bye. We'll see you in the hold room. All right, everyone. We're now reviewing the Stark County Youth Club, Inc., and our first reader is Paula. Paula, please share your insights into this application.
I think the application was very well done. There was a lot of detail as far as what they were going to do, who they were going to do it for, what parts of the community they were served. I think their budget is really, really small. I love the fact that they had diverse styles of art that were going to be available to the kids in the community during the programs. And I mean, just some things that you wouldn't even think of, like mime and things like that. I like the fact that they're using an evaluator, a local evaluator, to gather all these surveys and forms to see what the needs are and how they can better serve. I like that. And, you know, since I've been doing this for a couple of years, it seems like it's working for them. I love the fact that it looks like it's a 1-to-10 ratio, 1 adult to 10 kids in each of the programs. That's what it looks like number wise. If that is actually happening, that's fabulous. So that the kids can have more adult, one-on-one type of participation. And I love the fact that the families are invited to join as well. As far as staff, she mentioned all of the 10-to-1 ratio with just 1 executive director. That's 1 busy person. That would be great. And it looks like their timeline's pretty well set for training and things like that. And it looks like they've got a really good handle on how everything's going to run.
Thank you, Paula. We appreciate your comments. Our second reader is Angela. Angela, would you like to add additional information to the review?
I don't know, must have missed something, but
Okay. Well, that's all
if
right.
there was more information provided about the artistic programming itself, wasn't really apparent. or in the website or the Facebook site, but the concept seems super strong. There is a process for describing the impact, the idea impact. Probably the constructive feedback is in the area of project management. So it's kind of hard to tell, like, the combined years of experience, but then 23 years for one person, and not sure if that's very less clear. And it doesn't appear to account for fees charged to students, stated as $30 per student, financial aid provided for those who cannot pay. And the fundraiser at the brewery, but there's no mention in the budget for the revenues in there, and no statement of what $700 in travel expenses will cover. So maybe just clear statement of financials would be help the application. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. That's good information. We appreciate that. We'll open it up to any of the additional panelists who have anything they'd like to share. Seeing no additional comments to be shared, we'll ask you make your final score for the Stark County Youth Club, Inc. Let me know when you're done and we'll be able to send Mary back in to join us.
I'm all set.
All right, everybody is done. So we'll have Mary come back into the main room and we will get ready for our final application. There's Mary back. All right, our next and final application is for the trustees of Indiana University, South Bend. And our first reader is Jessica. Welcome, Jessica. Please share.
All right. I thought that this applicant provided a really clear purpose and goal for their project, and I appreciated how they really directly addressed how they're using their past experience to form this year's planning. I thought the artistic example provided, demonstrated a really high quality experience, and I really appreciated that the way they did the video, they gave us a little sample of the entire show throughout the 3-minute video. So it wasn't just like the first 3 minutes, but we got a real taste of the entire show. I thought that was really well done. In addition, it's really clear the project's going to serve 2 main communities, both the students and, children from the community. And I thought there had been a lot of, thoughtful measures put in place to ensure accessibility. They were also pretty thorough in describing the different idea strategies and initiatives they were going to use. One thing I did note in the social media, like web presence section, that their Facebook page hadn't been updated since 2019. So just something to think about before including it in the application. Regarding project management, I thought there was sufficient staff and an appropriate, if to be determined, timeline. My only point there would have been, it would have been nice to see like specific community engagement activities and the kind of the post-project impact measurement activities included in the timeline as well.
Thank you, Jessica. Dexter, what additional comments and perspectives would you like to add?
Nothing additional, everything in 100% agreement with Jessica.
All right, well, thank you very much for that. Are there other things, Mary, Angela, Paula, that you would like to add?
Nope, I'm good.
No, that was very well, thoroughly assessed.
I agree, a wonderful assessment. I just want to highlight that I think the tie-in with the Indiana State reading list is fantastic.
All right, we'll ask you make your final score for the trustees of Indiana University, South Bend. Make sure and hit save and let me know when you're done.
This is Angela, and I am finished.
All right. This concludes the review panel for Region 2. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. Applicants will be notified of the status of their grant in late June following the Indiana Arts Commission quarterly business meeting. If you have any questions between now and then, please contact Kayla Myers at the Community Foundation of St. Joseph County. Her phone number is 574-232-0041. We'll ask all of the panelists to remain online for some housekeeping notes. Until next time, we thank you all for watching and tuning in and for participating. We hope you have a really great rest of your day.